Hello and a warm welcome to Personal Finance. I'm Gugulethu, Cele. Now, with such tough economic times ahead for many consumers, one might wonder how best to use all the tools available in their budget to make sure that they find themselves in a financially sound position. Ever considered using your credit card as one of those budgeting tools? Well, to tell us more about this, I'm joined in studio by Vinolan David, who's the head of card issuing services at Standard Bank South Africa. Good to have you with us today, Vinolan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us, and perhaps let's pick up on understanding credit card usage 101. For many consumers, like myself included, it's that nice little tool that you use to just swipe, punch in a pin, and then life goes on for you to indulge in those luxuries. But for someone out there who's still a novice, what do we need to actually understand about a credit card as an accurate financial tool?
So maybe let's just start with an overview of credit cards. The first piece is a credit card's your gateway to a world of shopping and convenience. It gives you access to millions of merchants, both locally and internationally. Even better is it gives you the safety and security because it's protected by the latest chip and PIN technology globally, and our credit cards are all backed by that. So it gives you that additional safety and security as you shop. Further to that, as you use your card in this ever-changing digital world, you now also can use your card on websites for digital online shopping, as well as for in-app purchases. If we had to go to credit cards as it relates to interest rates, you'll see different products having different interest rates. They can range from anything from 18 to 25%, depending on the product you qualify for or the product you choose to actually take. One of the aspects of a credit card also is it gives you 55 days interest free.
Yes.
A big tip for our viewers is that that is something that is often not understood and largely unutilized by people. If you simply just pay your card, the full balance shown in your statement by the due date, provided it's just normal purchases, you're not charged interest. And if you carry on paying in full every month, that's a way to avoid the interest rate charges. Obviously, cash and garage card transactions are not included in that. I suppose the banks have to make money. And then last but not least, a credit card comes with a tailor-made credit limit, which you obviously have to use. And is tailor-made depending on your circumstances and your credit record or track record.
Let's talk about that because, as you mentioned, it does impact on your credit record, which again monitors your spending, how efficiently you pay back. How does that tie in to the relationship regarding your credit record, your credit limit rather? And do we as consumers have negotiating power when it comes to our credit limits to say, look, man, I'll try and be a good payer, increase it slightly, or you know what, I'm actually trying to be conservative, could you kindly reduce it?
Absolutely. So the first piece is most banks will give you a single credit limit. The first part that I want to touch on is how you actually use that limit. As you shop and you use your card, at that point of purchase, you are always faced with the opportunity to normally just have a normal transaction, or you've got the facility to be able to put that transaction, especially for the larger transactions, onto what we call a budget facility.
Yes.
That's an installment over a period of anything from 6 to 60 months. Just an additional piece of flexibility. Once again, something that's not commonly understood, but a feature of credit cards that I think is quite nifty and useful. Further to that, most banks will give you the opportunity, and we certainly do, to be able to, for big transactions, call us and say, I've conducted myself in a specific good manner, I have a big transaction going through, can I get a temporary limit increase? And we will most certainly consider that. It is also important to manage your payment history and your profile in the way you engage with your credit card in a way that's responsible, because the bank looks at that. Often what we'll do is either you'll come to us for a limit increase as your lifestyle changes and you want to adjust or get a bigger limit, or you get that big pay increase. But also we proactively, depending on your credit record or how you've conducted your account, may call you and say, we prepared to give you a limit increase. Do you want that? Are you interested? And then the last piece is absolutely, if you feel that the limit that you've taken is stretching your budget and you want to change and manage that responsibly, and you are disciplined in the way you manage your budget, absolutely call us. We are more than willing to change that and support our consumers in that.
Does the negotiating power, though, also come into play when it comes to interest rates? Because that's the often contentious issue with credit cards. Most
banks will offer you, depending on your track record, a flexible interest rate, and they'll be able to actually adjust it depending on your risk profile.
Well,
and that's common in the market, where depending on the interest rate that you have, you are able to negotiate on your actual interest rate that you get.
Fantastic. Coming back to the credit record element, because I take it naturally your credit card is a key player when it comes to monitoring your spending as well as payment levels. As you've mentioned, if you conduct yourself appropriately when it comes to your credit card payments, then maybe your credit record might come out looking pretty.
Absolutely. And I guess the point here for our consumers is make sure that in the way you think about managing your account, first of all, you think about how am I going to make sure that I'm disciplined, first of all, in the way I use the limit assigned to me. Avoid impulse purchases that stretch your ability to pay. Secondly, keep track of your spend. So if you are spending to a certain limit on a monthly basis to what you can afford, be disciplined in how you track it. As I said earlier, we've got facilities like our SMS updates which tell you as you use your card where you are relative to that particular limit, so you know where you are as you go through the month. So keep track of it. Don't go over from a limit point of view, because when you exceed it, obviously we look at that as you don't have the necessary discipline to manage your account. The other thing that I would give everyone a tip on is make sure that you load a debit order on your account. It's that simple thing which says simply just load a debit order to pay your credit card. If you do that, what it does is two things. The first is it makes sure that you never miss a payment. Missing a payment doesn't look good on your profile.
True.
Right? The second piece is you avoid penalty fees. And in the context of the economic climate and fees and interest, you actually don't want to be the person that's triggering fees unnecessarily by just missing a payment. So having a debit order just ensures that you avoid unnecessary penalty fees, and it puts you in control of paying regularly, promptly, on time, and builds your profile as you go along.
Exactly. Having said all of this, though, how then do we efficiently use a credit card when it comes to using it as a budgeting tool to ensure that you're in a financially sound position? And I say this because, like we've touched on, a lot of people use it for impulse purchases or buying that flat screen 65-inch mega TV that you actually really don't need. But again, it's the impulse purchases or aspirational purchases that we want.
So there's a couple of points on how to manage it effectively. The first thing I would say is, think about your credit card like you would any other financial part of your budgeting process. So like you budget for your home, like you budget for your vehicle, make sure every month you set aside an amount for the actual use of your credit card. That then allow yourself to track your spending relative to that amount that you've set aside. As I said, you can see the updates come through, track the spending, how you're doing during the month. Try to make sure you avoid those impulse purchases. Spoil yourself every now and then, but budget to spoil yourself.
Exactly.
The second piece that I would suggest is that think about your the terms and conditions of your card and the facilities and features associated with it. We touched on it earlier. A card comes with 55 days interest free. Use that. A card comes for that big flat screen TV. The ability to take it and put it over 24, 36 months on a budget installment period. It's a fixed period, fixed installment every month. You've got the ability to take advantage of that. In addition, in the way you use your card, think about whether if you draw cash at an ATM, you're paying transaction fees. Could you rather not instead just swipe it? It's safe, it's secure, we've spoken about it. So rather just use your card to avoid that. The other thing that I would suggest is think about looking at both the transferring money into your card, but also closing unnecessary accounts. Now, if you think about the use of a credit card, you would, on a debit card, you charge swipe fees. So every time you swipe it, you have transaction fees. On a credit card, put the money into your credit card, simply just swipe your credit card, there are no transaction fees. Here's another way to save money. Another thing that you'll find, and once again, not widely sold and advertised, is something called balance transfers. So if you've got lots of store accounts, and in this economic climate, rather look at the interest rate you are paying, how long you've set up, look at the credit limit that you have with your bank, and we offer attractive interest rates on balance transfers. Once again, take advantage of that. The advantage is moving all of your debt or balance transfers into a single card against the limit not only allows you to use your debit order to pay it regularly every month, but now you can keep track of the single account that you've got, so you don't miss things unnecessarily.
That's true.
And once again, that affects your credit record, because in the middle of all these accounts, sometimes you just simply miss one of them, right?
Exactly.
And that's just going to be something that affects your credit profile. Another thing often that's not understood is you could take advantage of the terms of your reward program. So a lot of the organizations have attractive rewards programs associated with a credit card. Now, if you use your credit card and you subscribe to the rewards program, you actually get higher earned rates. In other words, you collect more points by using your credit card. And if you collect the points, you actually could offset the cost of being part of the program, but also the bank fees and charges that you actually charge.
Precisely.
So that's fantastic. And I guess if you looked at the reward program, the other pieces, we were talking about the big purchases and the things to spoil yourself. In spending and earning points, you now have the ability to save the points for that big thing that you want. Some of the rewards program, like our organization, Standard Bank, we've got an online mall. You can literally go into the mall, use your credit card to buy the electronic goods, the travel packages, spoil yourself, but with points that you've earned, and top it up, obviously, if you're short, with your credit card and the ability to use your credit card. The last piece in terms of using and budgeting effectively is credit cards are fantastic travel tools. They allow you to, it's the gateway to the world of shopping and convenience, as I said earlier. But you could use it to, number one, make sure that you get free travel insurance, but also when you overseas, instead of drawing multiple currencies, just simply use your card. And then you avoid carrying all this various different currencies.
True.
You also can track your holiday spend on your credit card statement, something which is something that we don't think about. And once again, another nifty thing that both saves you insurance, but also just saves you the cost of carrying cash around and drawing it at other banks internationally.
So true. Vinolan, thank you so much for the wonderful analysis that you've given us. Clearly, it goes back to us as consumers reading the terms and conditions that come with these nifty tools and shiny things that occupy our purses and wallets, making life slightly easier. A big thank you once more to my guest in studio joining us today to understand how we can use a credit card as an efficient budgeting tool, Mr. Vinolan David, who's the head of card issuing at Standard Bank South Africa. If you'd like to get more insights or rather share your feedback with us and tell us how best to use your credit card as a budgeting tool, then get in touch with us on social media platforms at CNBC Africa using the hashtag Finance410 or tweet myself at Gugulethu. Until next time, take care everyone.